What's up, everybody? This is Mike here from The Flywheel. On The Flywheel, if you're tuning in for the first time, we talk to experts about business, careers, personal development, and growth. Today, we're going to be covering an amazing topic, talking to four people about the decision around careers and kids, getting some of their input, some unsolicited feedback and advice that might help you or somebody you know crossing this decision right now. So let's jump into it.
Hi, I'm Julianne Walker. I'm the Surface Solutions Lead for Microsoft's Small and Medium Business segment.
Hi, I'm Liz Price. I'm Director of Marketing for Blackbaud Canada, a software company that creates solutions for the social goods sector.
Hi, my name's Anastasia, and I am the Events Manager with the Oakville Chamber of Commerce.
Hi, I'm Melissa Granite. I'm the Education Marketing Lead for Microsoft Canada.
Perfect. So if you guys wanted to start maybe telling us a little bit about your story, where you decided this may come into play within your career, or whether you were balancing the decision of kids and career, and just share a little bit about what you did and why, and what you found in the process.
For me, in my case, career didn't necessarily take the forefront of our decision to start a family. I do have some health issues that kind of determined the right time, along with doctors determining the right time to start a family. But I was very, very fortunate with my career in that I was at a very comfortable place, still am. I definitely see myself maintaining this position for the foreseeable future, and I was very, very supported in that as well. So while it didn't necessarily factor into my decision, I feel very grateful that I didn't necessarily have to as well.
Yeah, I was in a similar position. I don't think I really was overly planful in terms of timing, so I didn't have a career plan and then have my pregnancies kind of plotted along. Mine, I think, was more, had been married for a few years, and I was fairly stable in my career, and I was at that point 30, and so that was kind of the point for me where I figured age does come to play in as a factor at a certain point, and so for me, it just seemed the most organic choice.
For me, I was actually the opposite. So I was very planful, or at least had that intention that I had all of these things that I wanted to do in my career before I was going to start about thinking of starting a family. And to be honest, it kind of got overwhelming, right? It kind of was like, I want to do A, B, C, and D. And then, but then you accompany that with like fiscal year timing and vacations and all these other moments. And it actually just became too much. And so we kind of just said, listen, like, this is one of the most natural things in your life. And so it's probably something that we shouldn't be so planful of. And at the time I had actually just started a new position. And so arguably probably wasn't the best time to get pregnant. But there is no wrong time or right time. I think it's just whatever works for you and your family. And so it worked out perfectly. And to Liz's point too, I was also at an age that just made sense. But I did try to over-engineer it a little bit, and it just was a lot of, I think, unnecessary stress for me.
Yeah, I agree with Julianne. There really is never a right time, and I learned that through my experience. When I got married, I was already over 30. We were 31 at the time, my husband and I. And funny enough, I was hired at Microsoft a couple months beforehand. And at first, I thought about starting a family on hold just because I finally landed the job at the dream company I'd always wanted to work at. So we waited around a year, but then it led into literally 3.5 years of us having major fertility issues. So I'm one of 4 women in Canada that's had multiple miscarriages and losses. That kind of dictated my journey. But luckily enough, with the support of my family, my husband, great medical care, and even my workplace and my bosses, we were finally able to get the help we needed on the fertility level and land pregnant almost 4 years after our journey began. So again, there's never a right time. You kind of have to just jump in and hope that it's going to be a positive outcome, but just be prepared as you're working along the way.
Is there something that if you were to look back and talk to your future or past self in this scenario, I guess, is there some piece of advice or some learning that you would share?
I think it's don't listen to anybody else, right? There was a lot of questions when we got married. We waited a long time to have children after we got married. We waited 6 years. And so a lot of family and friends were always asking us when, and same with colleagues. And we kind of boldly just made the statement that we were going to have children and start a family when we were ready. And we were also just very much aware, and I think it's important that you're respectful of it. It is challenging to start a family, and it doesn't always happen, right away. And so asking those questions, making those decisions are very personal. And so I think that you have to be empowered to kind of push back a little bit and to own your own story there.
Yeah, I agree with Julianne. I think it is a highly personal decision because it literally changes your life in almost every capacity. Your life truly becomes not your own in a lot of ways. And so you have to be prepared to make that change. And so looking back, I would probably tell younger me, just you do you. I would have also seen, though, a lot of people that share Melissa's story that have had a lot of challenge with fertility and trying to get pregnant. And so the one caution I would have told myself is also there is a certain physical reality that comes into play. And so for people who are deferring, for people who are, have career aspirations and things like that, just to balance that out. Because I can understand a lot of, there's, I would say a growing focus on women in particular, creating and sustaining careers. And so some people feel like they want to be at the point where they've made it and then have a family. And they feel like, there's a certain level of understanding that family will change your life. And so they want to get to that point and then start family at that, from then going forward. And I would say, balance. And I feel that way generally about everything in life. But there are certain uncontrollable variables that are also at play. And so just would caution just to stay aware of them.
Yeah, adding to Liz's point, I can relate to that a lot because it got to the point where I was so focused on trying to start a family, I wasn't doing things for myself or for my marriage or with my husband, that was actually adding enjoyment to our lives outside of our fertility journey, so it was really important to embrace that as you're going down the path, because you still want to enjoy life while you're pursuing starting a family. And then another thing actually that came up the other day when I was talking to one of my mentors, my mentor just kept saying to me, because we're talking about just having kids and even me further expanding my family in the future. And my mentor said, just please remember, career is always going to be there. As much as you feel the pressure when you're younger to really pursue it and to get to a certain level, Liz is right. There's only a certain amount of time really at the physical level that makes sense, unfortunately, when it comes to fertility. So it's important to really balance the two, building up the career, but also knowing that having a family is really, really special and important too.
I mean, I really don't have anything to add other than what was already said. I completely agree. I don't think there ever is the right time to have a family for numerous reasons. And like Melissa said, your career is always going to be there. Like, I think I read somewhere that you, on average, change your career 6 times. So there are many opportunities to do that, but there aren't necessarily as many opportunities to start a family. It is a process, and I don't think that's talked about enough, that it is a really big process for some people to get pregnant. So I'm kind of one of those people that dive in, think later. So my approach would definitely be to just think less about it, and there's never a right time.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing. I think what's super interesting to hear is all 4 of you have returned back to your careers. Careers were an important part of your life and wanting to go back to that. But in some anticipation of maybe trying to over-engineer it, the advice that's sort of popping through is don't overthink it. Don't think that it's going to have some negative impact, because there's no perfect timing. And so do what's right for you, do what's right for you and your family, and And that's probably the best piece of advice. Thanks again for tuning in today. If you like the content, make sure to subscribe to the page, turn on notifications. We'd love your thoughts and feedback in the comment section below. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. We'll make sure to give you guys some more great content in the coming weeks. And again, subscribe The Flywheel, where we talk to experts about personal development, growth, business, and careers.